Welcome to another video education series at financialaudacity.com. Well, I sure hope you've been joining us over these last few weeks. We've been talking about debt and how to tackle debt. And many of us in America have debt. And so it's something very common, whether it's something small, like you just have one debt, maybe just your house or your car or student loans, and then some of us have many aspects of debt. And so I hope that this has been very helpful to you. I hope that you also don't take these concepts and principles lightly and just say, okay, great, I'll deal with it tomorrow. A couple of things as we wrap up this series this week that I really want to make sure that we're focused on. The first thing is when we talk about debt and strategies, and if you remember a few weeks ago we talked about the two strategies that you can take when you're paying off debt. The first one being paying off the highest interest rate, the second one being paying off the lowest balances first. The important thing to remember with that strategy is that paying off our debt and actually working with a budget go hand in hand, just like we've always talked about. We did a blog post, a great one on budgeting, a 3-part series. You want to make sure that, for example, if you pay off one card, let's say you're taking the multiple success strategies, you're taking the smallest balances, you're paying those off versus that you have multiple wins. Well, let's say I pay off credit card number 1 and then I go, woohoo, I have a little party, and I go on to number 2. The real strategy is that you take whatever you were paying on number 1, and consequently if you're paying off credit card number 1, you still have to maintain minimum balances on 2, 3, and 4, right? So take what you were paying on number 1 and pump that all into number 2 so that number 2 goes faster. So we're not in the game of minimum balances unless that's not the card you're focused on. So when I'm working on card number 1, number 2, 3, and 4 are not my priority. I'm going to pay, I won't say as little as possible, but they're just sort of being maintained, making sure that you pay on time. But once number 1 is paid off, number 2 is my focus. Then I just maintain number 3 and 4. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing that I really want to encourage you to do is to not go closing a bunch of your credit cards. In the next coming up weeks, we're going to be talking about your credit score in particular, and what you need to do once you actually do pull that credit rating, what you find, and ways that you can better that. But one of the ways that you can sabotage your credit is to reduce any part of your credit limit by more than 50%. So if you have a credit card, let's say your total credit debt or your available credit balance that you have issued is $10,000. You might have 3 credit cards and 1 car loan or whatever, but it totals $10,000. Well, let's say I have 1 credit card, and that limit, I'm working really hard and I'm going to pay it off. That limit on that card is $5,000, but all of the credit I have is $10,000. Well, that 1 card comprises 50% of my total available credit. You don't want to necessarily go closing that card right away because it's going to slash your credit score pretty drastically. So what you want to do instead is really ask for, negotiate with that credit card company to either put a freeze or to reduce that credit limit little by little. But we'll be talking about that more in the next coming up weeks. I want you to stay tuned and stay on your chair. So as we wrap up today, what we're talking about is just the different strategies, making sure we're really in tune. You have that list all together. You've contacted exactly your companies. You've listed them out with the balances, who you owe, what you owe, and the percentages. And you've come up with a strategy that works best for you. And lastly, you're a negotiating maniac. So I hope that all is a really good instrumental help for you as you begin to tackle debt in your life. I can't wait to hear your success stories. Please continue to post online so that we can hear all about it and celebrate with you. Have a great day.